So Blair, uh, same Blair at our daycare, right?
I haven't been there in probably a month, but yeah, same one.
Okay. So just you're just trying to get some obedience done, or go ahead and fill me in on Blair actually.
Sure. Yeah. So, for me, the main thing, like I think I was talking to you the first day I dropped her off. I was like, I want to do some training. I kind of wanted to explore some positive training with her before I jumped into e-collar stuff. So I did do that. Great thing, there was good and bad. Urban Pooch was not great. Anything is possible is good, but they're like super booked up. But the biggest thing for me was like I want her to have that off leash freedom. Like when I go home to my parents, they don't have a fence, and when I go hiking a lot, and having her on a leash is a pain, and all the new smells she can't handle it. She's only a year and 3 months, so I want to be able to have that. That's the number one. But then I don't know if I put this in the consultation form or not, but the last month she's gotten very obsessed with shadows. And I think well, I don't know. I took video today, actually. I can show you if you want to see any at any point.
Okay.
I don't know if it's I think it's an overstimulation thing. She also like freaks out at squirrels on walks. She loses her mind. So, yeah, so the walks would be helpful too. Overall, she's like a good pup, but things like that just to make her life and my life better.
Okay. And shadows started when?
That started about a month ago, and my friend's like, it's a phase, and I don't know, man. It's really
Weird.
I don't think she's like well, yeah, she seems upset. But it's been about a month ago, and it's like sundown. It's like when the shadows start to flicker, and especially the ones on the ceiling that come from a glass of water or my phone or some reflection. She's standing and she's barking and jumping and making all sorts of noise at it.
Okay. And then what about the squirrels? She's just obsessed with them?
Yeah, when she sees a squirrel, it's and jumping and lunging and embarrassment on my end. And I have to use all my, I mean, if I don't have the prong on her, because I don't always walk her with a prong, because sometimes I'm trying to do the positive reinforcement with giving her treats and stuff with the front harness. I know you guys don't like harnesses, but so usually lately I've been putting the prong on because there's more squirrels around. And so she's not as crazy because I'm able to kind of control her and churn directions, and she's able to go away. So that has worked a little, but she still will freak out at them and jump. And if I were to let her, I was like, oh, let's see what happens if I let her go to the tree, and she just tries to climb up the tree. So yeah.
Okay, so off leash, shadows 1 month ago. Squirrels obsessed, walking. Anything else I should know about Blair, or like what you're trying to, or anything else I should know about Blair? Yeah.
I know you guys said she's kind of overall like an anxious dog. I don't know if after like, because I think she's been over at Canine Perspectives like maybe 6 or 7 times. I don't know if it got better. I think it did from what like a couple of the trainers told me, but lately too, well, yesterday, this is brand new, very brand new. Yesterday there were 2 big sounds that happened on our walks. Like some guy dropped an Amazon package like thing, and she got startled, and then a minute later a branch fell from a tree, like a huge branch. And then yesterday and then today she did not want to go for walks. She just was like, she kept sitting down, lying down. She didn't want to go anywhere. So I don't know if that caused her to now be kind of fearful of the outside.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then so that happened yesterday, you said?
It happened yesterday. Yeah, she was fine. And then yesterday and today she's just been kind of like really looking over her shoulder and keeps lying down and doesn't want to go anywhere. And she runs if I can get her around the block, which I've been able to do once since yesterday. She will, like, when she sees our door, she runs to it and waits there, and she's like really excited to go back inside. I'm like, what? So that's not normal for her.
Anything else?
Right now, I think she has a little cold. She's got some
Oh,
sort of little cough. That's
okay.
but her, the obedience classes I did with anything is possible were good. She did very well with that. So she seems like a smart dog. I think she's really high prey driven overall. Because like she loves fetch and will do anything for a ball and then there's a squirrel in the shadow thing. So that's just based on my little knowledge. I feel like she's got high prey drive.
Okay.
So
And then what did you guys go over with those? Or when did she go to? What is it? Pausable or what's it called?
anything is possible or something. That was recent. That was from I think the month of April. She did that, and we did Urban Pooch in November, and that was a disaster. Like it was their levels class, so like you could come as many times as you wanted, but it was a different trainer every time. And I was naive. I had her for like a month, so I was like, I'll try that. And she was overstimulated. She would grab the leash and pull on it. And well, one time she ripped one of the trainer's shorts, and we were asked to leave. And and then there was two other times where I decided I was going to leave because I couldn't handle it, and nobody was giving me the support I needed.
Was
So
it
then
positive only, or
sorry,
was it positive only, or was it what was
yeah.
it? What was her method?
It was all like treats, and yes, yep, yes, and then the marker and then the treat. Um, but it was just a different trainer, and I don't know what it was, but it was. I asked them for a refund, and they said, well, we'll give you three personal training sessions with someone if you want. So I went to one of those, and I wasn't impressed by that either. So they just have my money, and I decided I wasn't going to go back.
Okay. And then anything is plausible. Was that positive only too?
That was fine. I was happy with what I learned from them. So, but like they're booked, and I've been on the fence for so long about e-collar, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So, yeah. So I contacted you guys, and you're great too. The daycare and everything, and I watch all your Instagram, everyone's Instagram stuff, and I've been following for like since I got her for like last 8 months. So,
Okay.
yeah. I know
Um,
what I'm getting into, kind of.
yeah. So for positive only, what commands does she like know?
Sit down, up, like from down to sitting up. Heel is okay. It's not consistent. She can do it pretty well in the house and in the courtyard out here and like around our block. But as soon as we go anywhere outside of our normal like walking like neighborhood, she's doing her own thing. It's a little harder to get her to heel. And calm is okay. Again, if there's like distractions, she can do it fine in the house. She can do it fine in the courtyard. She can do it in parks. Like I've been taking her to parks and doing it, and it just kind of depends like where her brain is at. And if I don't know, it's not consistent, but.
Does she take food on her walks?
80% of the time.
Okay.
If she's like really excited about something, she doesn't even smell it. Or if like she's nervous, like today, I think she just kept sitting down. She didn't want to take any treats. So she didn't take any treats until we got back to the apartment. And I was like, well, let's see if she'll have a treat at the door. And she did, but she wouldn't take anything around the block.
Okay. And so, what or where do you how does this go? Your goals with Blair, like if you were to have everything you like with Blair, what would that lifestyle look like? So, for example, like, do you just want to be able to like walk around the block, go to the dog park, do a recall, or do you like going to restaurants outside and you want to bring her, or do you like I know you said off leash hike, or like the off leash freedom. So, like, where do you realistically, what would you like your life to look like with Blair?
Yeah, I definitely would love to have she's actually done okay with patios too. I mean, she's good for about 40 minutes and then she's kind of done. But I have taken her to, like last Wednesday we did one, and she was trying to eat stuff off the ground a little bit. I found like I found a screw I picked up right before she was about to grab it. So that concerns me. And yeah, I don't know. I wanted to ask you guys too about like, because I know there's like leash laws in Chicago. I live right in Lakeview, and like if she's got her collar on and she's all trained, let's say like a year from now, she's all trained or whatever, however long it takes. And then I want to take her to a space that's open and not that busy. And I want her to run around. I've got the e-collar. Like, can I get in trouble for that? Like, is that because it's technically there's leash laws all in the city? Like, how does that work? Like if I want to go to Humboldt Park, let's say, or the lakefront.
Okay, Humboldt Park. I'm not sure, but I know like Oz Park and what's the other park down up here? Wait, Kim, do you know that park that's right here? Like
Logansport Dog Park?
no, it's not. What's that? There's another park that's like really open with like baseball fields. Horner Park.
Oh, I know Horner. Yeah, I used to live right by there. Yeah.
So we've been to Horner, Oz, and there's always dogs off leash everywhere, and they don't have training tools, and there's always cops driving around, and they don't say anything. So I don't even know anymore how like they work. It's just because of what I've seen people get away with,
Yeah.
So by my house, I live in the suburbs,
Okay.
and they're a little more strict. I remember I had my dog on e-collar off leash running around, and a cop stopped me or like stopped approached me. Was like, hey, what are you doing? And then I was just like, okay. And then it was just a weird thing.
Yeah.
But I think that only happened because someone called on me. I've never had it. That's the only time I've had issues with cops is because I think someone called on me. But there are leash laws. I think it's as long as you're being respectful and
Right.
you have your dog under control. I don't think
Right.
it's bother because I've walked around cops with my dog off leash in a heel, and they've seen me, no leash, but she's walking right on my hip, at my
Right.
pace, not running around. So I think that's like they're just fine with it, but that is something to be mindful of, like being aware of your leash laws. But then like I said, Oz Park, there's like the big field in the middle.
Right.
Everyone,
I've seen that.
yeah, everyone's got their dog off leash, so it's a little bit confusing to me with that stuff. So
Yeah. I was just wondering if there was like a workaround. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I don't, like I said, I'm not too, it's more of like, yeah, if someone would approach me or ask, and I wanted to know what the protocol was on that. But yeah, like you said, if your dog's right at your heel or they got them under control, then no one seems to care. So.
exactly, yeah. So it's so you're just like it sounds like you're just experimenting, like what can I do to help Blair before I do kind of the e-collar stuff, right? Is that what was happening?
That's what I've been doing since I got her in September. That's what I've been doing since September. Yeah.
Okay. So positive only, as you can kind of see, it has um, a low ceiling, like a cap. A cap.
Yeah.
Um, where you get to a point where like you change environments and then the dog just doesn't like want to eat the food or anything or doesn't care. So that's where a lot of people struggle, and sometimes certain things can take a long time when you're using food, and then it's like a hit or miss here and there, and it sometimes discourages owners when they do positive only. They just get discouraged quickly and they kind of give up on it.
Yeah.
It's good for like puppy training and creating foundational stuff and just adding stuff. We use positive only like with e-collar. So we use it here. We use it for our puppies. Any dog under 6 months it's good for. It's great for stuff you want to see again. So like let's say Blair was, you said sit, she sat, then food. But we don't. It depends on the dog. We don't really use food for like reactivity or anything like that, unless like the dog needs a little more positive with it. I think it's kind of rare.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, there's a ceiling for that. It's good foundational work, like I said, shaping behaviors and everything like that. And then after positive only, or like and then you said she's better on the prong than the harness.
Yeah, as soon as like I feel like as soon as I put it on her, there is no pulling. I don't even need treats. She knows like if she goes where I'm gonna give her that little tug. And then yeah, but she overall, like I said, if we're in a familiar neighborhood, like within like a 2-3 block range, she's okay, I think. But as soon as we like cross diversity or cross, house, like she gets, starts pulling a little more. And I've been really consistent, or I've been trying to be, since the winter was hard, because the winter was like, oh my gosh, just we're gonna speed walk through this and be done. And I couldn't do the treat thing because like, your hands are cold. So but for the last month or two, well, since I finished the anything is possible training, I have been trying to really be consistent with our walks, and consistent and intentional with our walks, where like she pulls, I stop, make a little ah or sound, and wait for her to stay on my side and then go. And we don't get very far, but because it's just, that's a lot of time. But yeah, so with the front pull harness, she will, it just does take like a long time, and we are stopping a lot because she wants to get ahead of me, and then I'm just like and I wait, and then she sits, and then we go. But it I can see, like, like you get tired of it, and it's like, to be consistent and dedicated to that method for years is like, just not realistic. For, I mean, I've also, I'll be going back to work in person in the fall, and it's like, I don't know, like I'm not gonna have as much time as I have been for these last 10 months or so.
Yeah. Um, so moving on to prong collar was a good step for you, and having that because it allows correction. So prong collar is supposed to mimic a dog bite. So if she pulls, it's gonna like contract. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Contract, and
Hmm.
then she gets consequence for doing that, right?
Hmm.
Um, the con is once you take the leash off, then you have lost all control, because now you're not attached to be able to correct her with the prong.
Right.
Another con is, let's say you give your strongest. You know what a leash pop is on the prong?
I might know, but not really. Like I can guess, but go ahead and tell me.
It, it's like like a little correction, so like a little pop like that. So
Okay.
it's just like, oh, what was that? A quick like dog bite. Uh,
Yeah.
the con with prongs sometimes is if the dog is so like far gone, as in like either anxious or maybe engaged in something like the squirrels, you can give your hardest yank, right? And she will not care. It's like bam, and she's like,
Yeah.
no, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's even like anyone could give their strongest, right? And let's say your strongest is like a 7 out of 10, and if she's at a 9 or like an 8, you're never going to override the brain with that, right?
Hmm.
So an example Jesse uses is he his Chihuahua used to be reactive when he was like as I think when he was getting into his career, and he had the prong collar, and he would give a pop. I think the Chihuahua would do like 3 spins, like hop, and then the Chihuahua spun, right, and then the Chihuahua would go back to barking at the dog, like he didn't care, and Jesse
Yeah.
would give a pretty harsh pop.
Hmm.
He didn't care. And then obviously moving on to e-coms, that's another story. But so prong is good to like more handling skills and control, but for behavior, it can get a little like hit or miss with that stuff. And then after prong is e-collar. So and then the harness, the non-pull harness. There's no such thing as a non-pull harness,
Right.
because you know Huskies have harnesses. They use harnesses in protection work. I don't know if
Mhm.
you know that.
Mm-mm.
So dogs have what's called an opposition reflex. The front clip gives you more control because then like they're turning this way instead of the back one where like you pull, it's a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
But we use harnesses in protection training. So a handler has dog on harness. They pull and they release. They pull and they release and pull and release. Opposition reflexes when you pull back, they want to go forward even more. And then when you pull left, they go right. When you pull left, they go or
Okay.
right, they go left, they pull right, they go left, and the the opposite
I
way.
know what you mean. I did crate training with Susan Garrett for her crate training stuff, and she talked about that, where like you can like pull them back and then release, and they boom, they like fly into the crate. I never got her to that point, but like that,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
was
yeah.
talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an oxymoron from the non-pull harness, right?
Mhm.
They're meant to pull. Um, so then, yeah, e-collar. So what do you know about e-collar?
So one of my best friends from back home in New York, e-collar trained her dog. So from what she's told me, I know it's like a TENS unit. It's not like an electric shock or anything. It's not a shock collar. So, it's more of like a stimulation. There's the numbers, there's the working number. Um,
Your friend?
what's that?
Who's your friend?
Oh, she lives in New York, my friend Marisa.
Oh,
But I
she
also,
told you all this, or is this from the videos?
what's that?
She told you all that?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. But I know the working number thing I heard from the videos because I was watching Jesse's videos. So I know the working number from that. But she did tell me all this about the TENS unit and the how it's more like a kind of like a contraction, kind of, mimics the dog bite. And she just has been pushing me to do it since day one. Like, you just got to do it, Rach, because she has a like pity mix, like, and he's a lot more stubborn than Blair, and he's a little older. She didn't collar train him until he was like 4 or 5 or 6, and he's like 8 now. And she's like, it was just really hard, like to, she had wished she had done it sooner because she just felt like he would have had an easier life. But she puts it on. But what my question is, and I know, like, fill in what I don't know, because I know there's more I don't know, but I guess I'm wondering, like, is the e-collar on for life, like, or is there going to be a point where if I'm very consistent for a couple of years, that after a while, like, she won't need it for certain situations, like sitting on the patio or stuff like that. I totally think, like, e-collar when they're run free, like hiking or in my parents' backyard where there's a mean dog next door, like I want the e-collar on her all the time. But in other situations, like, is it one of those things where like the prong, like she's going to know it's on, so I'm going to behave a certain way? Or is it going to be like over time, if I'm consistent, that's on me, right? Like, will she not need it for certain situations?
Yeah. So the e-collar is on when you need it. Um, so like you said, if you're gonna be like off leash, um, stuff like that, it'll be on. Even like just for a regular walk,
Mm-hmm.
walk, it will always be on. Just because we can't predict what's gonna happen on this walk. So like when you heard those loud bangs, and let's say you had the prong collar on, let's say a firework went off right next to you, or like a car crash.
Mm-hmm.
Blair freaks out enough and yanks hard enough that prong collar could break, right? So if she's out of the prong, she's in flight mode. And when dogs are in flight mode, they're literally thinking kill or be killed. So they're gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to think about how am I going to override flight mode and how am I going to bring her back? Because you're going to need a lot more than just a yell or like a clap or anything like that to bring her back. So that's where e-collar comes in. It's there
Mm-hmm.
for emergencies. If anything were to happen like that, and even if she doesn't break out the prong and she starts getting tense and very like flighty, you can still correct that with the e-collar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, settle her. So it's on when you need it. And then let's say in the home she's an angel, then you don't need it on.
Mm-hmm.
For for when it's off and then maybe she goes back into her pulling mode, that's it's called opportunistic behavior. So Jesse likes to use an example. I don't know if you've watched the video when he uses this, but he uses an example of like he'll say like do you drive on the highway?
What was it?
You drive on the highway,
Oh, yeah.
and then do you go the speed limit?
Not all the time.
Then what happens when drivers see a squad car?
Yeah, you slow down because you don't want to get caught.
Yeah, it's just opportunistic behavior. It's just a nature thing. So
Mm-hmm.
we call the collar a cop on a collar. So when it's on, they tend to like know when to behave, and then when it's off, they just take advantage of that. It has nothing to do with the training. It has nothing to do with you practicing at home. Has it's just nature, you know. If we know we can get away with something, we're gonna get away with it no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also just being consistent. If you give her the opportunity to do something and not be corrected, the dogs learn quick. She's gonna think, okay, she's gonna look at the situation. I just did this. I didn't get corrected. What's different? And then she's gonna know, oh, no collar. And then now she's collar aware. But as long as you're consistent, it shouldn't happen because we've had dogs that were just fine without the e-collar, but then other dogs like we take the e-collar off and they're just all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it has nothing to do with the training, nothing like that. It's just nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's on when you need it, uh, and then if you take it off and she goes back to her old ways, um, just I guess wouldn't be surprised about that.
Mm-hmm.
But all dogs are different with that stuff. There are some things that e-collar can just fix by itself, which is what we're looking at with Blair is the overstimulation. Squirrels moving, shadows all over the place, picking up stuff from the ground. That's overstimulation.
Mm-hmm.
That might just go away on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Start e-collar training. So second, maybe the third class, she might stop chasing the shadows and glares. It might just go away.
Mm-hmm.
Or we might have to address it and then we'll go about it that way. But usually the overstimulation, we don't have to like attack it head on. It just goes away.
Okay. Is that like a puppy thing, like a young dog thing sometimes? Or do you mean just with the e-collar, because of the e-collar, it goes away?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not because it's present. It's just that. So Blair doesn't know what to do on the walks. Once we teach her what to do on the walks and like what to like giving her a job, then she what will happen is, oh, I just gotta focus on mom. And then she won't care about anything else. She won't start picking up sticks because then if she's doing these things, that means she's not paying attention. If she's not paying attention, that means she's out of position. If she's out of position, then she's gonna get corrected.
Mm-hmm.
So we're creating caution in her so that she's so focused on you and what you're doing that she doesn't care about anything else, right? So once we give her a job and we're controlling her position mentally, then a lot of stuff will end up going away. Um, Overstimulation is again, it's from not knowing what to do on these walks, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
People get mixed up with overstimulation with like prey drive. Sometimes I think when we overstimulation goes away, their prey drive kind of dips down. It's just because your dog was just overstimulated and saw something moving and chased it at that moment, right? So I'm just getting a lot of overstimulation, which is very common in dogs. It's very a simple thing to kind of tackle. The what else? Loud noises that can be addressed with e-collar as well. If she's ever in a situation where she starts to freak out, and if she's like looking all over the place where she's stressed, e-collar can be used to calm down dogs, which is like, let's say she's sitting right, a loud bang happens, or a door just closes and it's loud, and she goes, what was that? And we can correct that to give her like, hey, don't worry about that right now. And as we keep practicing that, she'll start to acclimate like, oh, it's just a loud noise or whatever, right? That's just her when she can become comfortable with loud noises and stuff like that. With the patio stuff, we can address that as well. It could be from overstimulation too, if she's picking stuff up. And then what else? Any questions so far? But yeah, you're right with the e-collar and everything. It's a TENS unit. It's just a
Oh
muscle
yeah.
contractor. Jesse likes to say it's electric, but not electricity, so it doesn't run through your dog or anything like that. It's used as well. It doesn't matter the dog. It doesn't matter what behavior we're teaching on. Any dog 6 months and older, sometimes younger, is always trained on e-collar for us. Even if it's like insecurity or flighty or nervous, they're going to go be on e-collar because e-collar can fix those things or make a dog more confident. Any questions so far?
Yeah, I guess how does the psychology work of like making the dog more confident with the e-collar on? How does that work?
So e-collar is a stressor. So if Blair's stress response is anxiety, that might come out. Now, e-collar doesn't make your dog anxious. Your dog was already anxious. We're just seeing it come out because she's stressed. That's her stress response, right?
Mhm.
So we had a dog here that was flighty, and when they would feel it, and as we keep working through it, we're trying to teach them. E-collar doesn't mean run away because usually that's the dog's first response. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna run away. We either
Mhm.
follow us or come to us. So with the confidence building, we're teaching them to overcome their. We're teaching them that this stressful situation is nothing. All you have to do is this, and then once they realize it, they're like, "Oh, that's all I have to do." And then like you'll start to see them like, as we teach more stuff, they're going to go back to stress, but then they learn it, and they're like, "Oh, that was it." And then it's more smoother. And then like as we keep teaching them stuff and using pressure, because pressure, we do a lot of pressure work. It's called pressure work.
Mhm.
Once they understand what pressure is, they're more confident in like these situations and understanding what it means. So, um, you'll see dogs who maybe don't like going on objects or like they don't want to do something. Once we work the dog through it, they're panting, they're like, they're releasing the stress. And as we're
Mhm.
eating it, they're like, oh, this is all we have to do. And as we start exposing them more to different environments with the e-collar, letting them know that, hey, e-collar is not only at the facility, it's also at the park, Home Depot, PetSmart. They start to realize, okay, this is just life now. And they start to overcome that. And with overcoming their fears, it gives them more confidence. It's like going, what's it called? Bungee, is it bungee jump? Or maybe bungee jumping, yeah. Let's say
Mhm.
you go bungee jumping like your first time. It's going to be scary, right? But let's say you become like, you start working at bungee jumping and then like you're there every day, you do it every day. You're going to become more confident, right? With that, because you're like, it's nothing. I'll just second nature. I'll just do it, right? Or jumping out of a helicopter or whatever. The more you do it, the more confidence you get. If you're doing it like once every, month or whatever, you're still going to be a little hesitant with it, right? So the more exposure to econ, the more confident they are with that. Um, does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but what else? What's the confidence stuff?
Evidence, e-collar. Yeah, I don't know.
So the reason why we get like such success with it, and it's the tool that gets us closest to 100%, almost 100%, but at least 90% of reliable obedience, is because it's their language. It's a physical tool. So we will never match dogs the pressure of a dog bite, right? That's how dogs deal with each other's problems, is through the mouth and biting, right? So if Blair
Mhm.
were to like hump a dog, that dog would most likely bite or correct that dog.
Mhm.
So with prong collar, sometimes it's not enough power to bite Blair out of a situation and like to help or correct her. So that's where
Mhm.
power comes in, where we can get enough power to stop the brain from escalating to an anxious or stress or flight or prey drive or overstimulation, right? So we're technically just biting your dog, and it's also non-confrontational. So when you're correcting Blair, or when she's hitting the prong, she knows it's you because she sees the leash attached to you. So right, with the e-collar, she will never know that you're the one pressing the button. So sometimes owners are like, will my dog be scared of me if I'm using a shock collar on them, right? Well, your dog's never going to know it's you pressing the button. Blair's going to think it's like the universe just telling her what to do, right? She's not going to know.
Yeah.
And um, our collars have 127 numbers. So think of our 127. There's cheaper e-collars out there like that, 10 levels, 5 levels.
Mhm.
Are 127 equal to 5 or like a 10 maximum. So we have this
Mhm.
power outers, but we have 117 more breaks. So if you're on the 10 max level e-collar, a 7 could make Blair yelp and could be too much, but then a 6 is nothing. Like maybe she doesn't listen on the 6. She doesn't care. So that's where the issue happens with that. And then the sensation is also different because we use Dogtra.
Mhm.
127. If 40 is making Blair yelp, we in 30 she's not listening. Well, then we go to 35, right? It also feels a lot more smoother. The feeling is not such of like of surprise. It's more it's a good feeling. Like if you ever felt it, you'll know it feels like a little pinch, like a little tickle.
Mhm.
Obviously, it can be uncomfortable as you go higher up on the numbers, right?
Mhm.
But if you go higher enough, like if you do it on if I'll do it on my thumb and I'm going higher, eventually I'll be like pressing the button, my thumb will be moving like that, right?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's physical. It's their language. We're biting them back, and then that's where we get the fast results. Um, and they respond quicker, and they're more like, oh, this is what I have to do. Like they figure it out really fast.
Mhm.
Because again, it's their language. Because dogs don't give each other treats. They don't say, oh, you didn't bark today. Here's a treat. Good job, buddy. It's like you're barking. I'm gonna bite you. Please stop barking. Or like
Mhm.
if you're running around being anxious, I don't like that. I'm gonna go address it by biting you. Not hey, don't do that. Stop, stop, stop. They don't talk, right? It's just consequence for the actions, which is what we're doing, which is why they learn really fast. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. When she was freaking out the shadows around like I don't know, it was like noon or something. And I maybe this was coincidence, but like she doesn't, I've stopped going, Blair, stop it, it does nothing. So like you said, so I went up to her and I just kind of like I like not like straddled, but she was like kind of standing and she's about to my knee. So like I went like over her and I just kind of squeezed my legs on her body and she just sat down and laid down and like chilled out. And I was like, okay, what do I do now? I don't know if it's anything to do with the pressure or whatever, like, but it was just, I thought it was interesting. Or if it was just coincidental, but when I let go, she kind of like ran to the other room and then ran back. So like she kind of was going crazy again. So
Okay. Is that like the zoomies? Like
no, it was all the shadow. It was the
oh,
light
okay.
on the wall. That was the chasing shadows, yeah. Because there's shadows in the front room and then them in the back room now. And so I just like, I don't know. I don't know if it had anything to do with anything, but I just thought it was
It could have been uncomfortable. She's like, okay, that was weird, and then just like, I'm gonna settle down because that's never happened before, and it was very uncomfortable. So that's how
yeah.
kind of how it works. Now we don't a lot of trainers will like max it out and make the dog do something bad and then slam them with the ECOG. That's incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing we would teach Blair is how to walk. It's called the heel command, and we're teaching her that she's the one who is able to make the ECOG go off and on. So once she realizes she's in control of it, you'll see a lot of it'll just become easy. And once she knows what it is, then we can move on to like behavior work where we're correcting her behavior. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I know when we teach the heel, overstimulation goes away. Although overstimulation, picking up sticks, and chasing shadows is behavior, but heel's obedience. So the difference between obedience and behavior, do you know what the difference is?
Not Not really. No, I've tried to figure it out, but
Yeah.
no.
So,
Please educate me. Yeah.
so for humans, think of obedience as math, science, English, social studies, and then
Uh-huh.
behavior as don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal.
Okay.
So you can have a really good student but a bad person, or you can have a really bad person but a really good student, right?
Okay.
So if let's say someone was like a thief, right? We wouldn't teach them math so they would stop stealing, right? Does that make any sense, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So sometimes owners are like, why would teaching my dog how to walk um, like change reactivity or like the overstimulations? Because the way we teach heel isn't really about the obedience, it's about the psychology behind it. So
Mm-hmm.
we're making Blair's mentally making the choice to walk next to you, right shoulder parallel to your left leg, taking 5 steps if you take 5 steps, taking 10 steps if you take 10 steps. When you come to a stop, she's to automatically sit. This is all done with no words. So
Mm-hmm.
once we can make her mentally do that, you're going to be the only thing she's ever going to care about and focus, because everything else is going to go away. She's like, oh, this is my job now. This is my job to focus on mom, because if I don't, I get consequence.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to want the consequence, right? So once she realizes that, then we start to see maybe shadows go away because it's settling her brain. So sometimes owners will say like, yeah, I go like pre-training. I'll go for a walk for like an hour, like 3 miles. And like, I'm thinking I'm tiring my dog out, but we come home and my dog's just back to zooming around or whatever, high energy. But then like that first class or like, once we start e-collar training, the walks could be like 30 minutes or 20 minutes and the dog comes home knocked out because
Mm.
it's mentally it's they're focusing, they're using a lot of mental work, and using their brain for that long is very exhausting. And then you start to see them like settle, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense because like you're giving him a job, like you said, like by staying focused on you. I mean, because I'm like not exhausted, but like our walks, I can't listen like okay, I can't listen to an audiobook while we're on our walks, right? Because I'm constantly focused on her and the treats, and like and it's just like it's just a big job for me. And we do hour-long walks. I don't mind because I like walking, um, but yeah, she can still be a nut job, we get back and I'm like, so yeah, I get it.
Cool. So for your programs, we have in-person, board and train, and daycare and train. Is
Mhm.
there anything you had in mind already, or
I mean, I guess I was thinking the in-person train so I can, experience it and learn it for
yeah?
myself.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. In person is good for that. Pros are you get to, because we're hands off. We don't touch the dog. We
Hmm.
coach you through everything, so you're doing everything from scratch. So you're the one troubleshooting. You're the one um, doing all the leash handling the remote, all of it from you, right? So nothing is no training is tied to us. So that's an issue with other training programs. It's like, oh, my dog listens when the trainer's here, but when the trainer leaves, my dog doesn't listen. You'll never get that because you're doing all the work.
Hmm.
So if you're interested in person, that's good. Um, Con is it takes longer. So we give you one topic a week so that we don't overload you with information, right?
Hmm.
So we have the 6 week, 9 week, and 12 week. Six.
Hmm.
Think of 6 week as I walk my dog around the block. I go to the dog park. I need recall, and then I just go home. 9 week, I walk my dog around the block. I go to the dog park. I need recall. I also like going to restaurants. I need her to stay still for however long you're there for. 12 week, you do all those things, and then you do the off leash hiking. And
Hmm.
um, so for 6 week, for any program you'll definitely know heel and recall.
Hmm.
Recall is nothing if it's not off leash reliable, and we give you the tools and lessons of how to teach recall off leash, right? And then you're gonna learn heel with any program you go before.
Hmm.
Just whichever program you choose, you're gonna learn more.
Hmm.
Always purchase more classes. So let's see how the 6 week goes, and then you're like, I want to learn more. Then you can always buy more classes.
Okay.
Um, but typically on a normal 6 week, um, is like if you're just trying to address the walking and then some of that little behavior work. 6 week would be 2 classes heel, 2 classes recall. So that's 4 classes. You have 2 classes left, and that allows us some wiggle room to see how she's doing with the shadows, squirrels, and just like the noise and everything like that. 9 week would be that same thing, but then you're learning more stationary commands of like down, place, stay. You'll learn one stationary command in the program for 6 week, but you go more in depth with the 9 week program, and then 12 week is everything, and then you'll get like emergency commands like down from 30 feet away. You want her to down, and she should
Hmm.
go down. Or
Hmm.
walking right, and then you say down, and as you're moving, she's supposed to just lay down on cue.
Hmm.
I don't need an answer right now. You can
Yeah. I'll
ponder.
need to do that. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's just how the programs work. Everything's recorded. We're working from Oz Park or the facility, and we also do in-home as well. But we work at Oz Park because, I mean, Oz Park is like the busiest park in the city. So
Yeah.
if you train Blair there, I'm pretty sure it'd be very simple or easier to train or to work with Blair anywhere else. Does that make
There's a
sense?
lot of squirrels at Oz Park. I've tried taking her there and it was a disaster. Like I won't take her there. So
Be
it'd be
good.
nice to be able to take her there, you know? Yeah.
Any questions?
I don't think so. I think the next thing is, you know, when I figure out what I want to do, I think my gut's telling me right now 6 weeks, but I'll have to think about it for a little bit, like you said. But for scheduling wise, like, you know, this with the summer, I know Jesse's booked. I don't know what your availability is. I'm totally fine working with you if you're available. I just I have like a bunch of random weeks I'm gone. So, you know, so I don't know if that matters. Like if I should just wait till mid-July when I'm back in Chicago for good, or like how that would work.
Um, that's like a personal preference, I think.
Okay.
It's it's a class a week, so an hour a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's just personal preference for you.
Okay. I
Um,
just didn't know if it mattered with the whole training process or anything like that, you know?
well, yes, let's say you do the 6 week program.
Mm-hmm.
Get 6 time slots plus one for you always you get plus one time slot in case there's like a rain or something happens where like you need to reschedule, right? You have another time slot that no one can take away from you.
Got
But if
it.
you lose that time slot, then you're gonna have to wait till either me or Jesse or someone else is available for
Mm-hmm.
you, right? Jesse is booked. I'm starting to get more busier, not as busy as Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just personal preference, really.
Okay. If that's the case, then yeah, then that's fine. I just didn't know if it had to be in a row. Because if it did, I was like, well, I have to wait till mid-July because I've got a bunch of stuff coming up. But if not, then I can scatter it or however it works. So
Yeah. Anything else?
um no, I don't think so.
Um, if I missed anything. So I'll send you the prices for the 6 week and 9 week programs. And how much does she weigh?
55.
And she's already a year old, right?
Yeah, she's a year and like 4 months, I think.
Okay, just trying to see what collar would best be for her. We sell e-collars here, so if you want, you can either buy from us or you can purchase. I'll send you a link as well. You can purchase on Amazon if you wanted to purchase by yourself. That's fine too.
Hmm.
And then we have payment plans.
Okay.
So half down before the first class, and then that next half is split up into two payments, one before the third class, one before the sixth class, I believe. Or you can pay in full, up to you.
Okay.
You'll get this consultation credit, so it's already minus 135 from your
Okay.
total. What else? So after this consultation, I'll send a follow-up email with all this stuff. 6 week, 9 week prices, the Doctra brand model I recommend, and then a form that needs to be signed by you. It's just like an agreement thing that we're not I think a liability thing. But that needs to be signed, and then after that is signed, then we can begin billing. And after the billing is done, we can begin booking.
Got it.
So you said probably July.
Well, that'd be when I'd be free for like, because I have like, I'm going away for a week, June 6th, then I'll be back for 2 weeks, and I'm gone for a week, end of June. And, you know, so like, I'm just kind of like a little sporadic.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You're not thinking about doing the daycare and train, board and train, right?
Well, I guess if you want to tell me more about it, probably not the board and train. I don't want to give her up for that long.
Daycare and train,
Daycare
uh,
train.
same thing as regular daycare.
Yeah.
This is not ad training. We film everything, so we film all the first sessions of her, how she took e-collar, how we worked with certain things, what we're seeing, and then once that video is uploaded, it's sent to you, and then as soon as you get the video, you can start practicing, and then you can keep bringing her to her lessons and everything. And then we have a follow-up lesson where we kind of check up on you, so how's everything going, show us what you've been doing, and then we help you throughout. If you're struggling, we'll help you throughout that as well. But yeah, she gets they would go by bundles, so it's like 5, 10, and then 15. You probably be getting the 10-day with what you're wanting, so the 10-day bundle.
Okay.
So 5 is like basic short leash stuff, just the basics. But then for Blair, I'm expecting some sort of stress response. So we might need the 10-week or 15 to have her conquer that hill, right?
Mm-hmm.
We stopped short and we haven't seen any improvement with her anxiety or whatever stress response she has when we start e-collar. Then she's kind of stuck there, right, at that hump. Like she's about to go, and we're teaching everything, and she's at this hump, right? We need to get over it so that she can become more confident with the e-collar and everything like that, more acclimated.
Okay.
So that's daycare and train. Again, everything's filmed. Everyone works with Blair. I'll be the one doing the videos for you. So I'll be the one explaining everything, what's going on. And then you get your follow-ups at Oz as well. What else?
So the daycare is I bring her in, drop her off base for the day, and someone's working with her for like half hour or whatever, like for however long. And then when do I get the follow? Is it after it's all done? I get a follow up. I get videos. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm trying to follow everything. So
You get videos, and then let's see here. You get a few hours of follow up.
okay. Daycare and train. I was going to your website. So I'm a visual person, so it helps me just to.
So 10-day, a 10-day daycare and train is 1,600, and you get 3 hours of follow up.
Got it. 2 hours of video instruction. Okay.
And then 15 is 4 hours of follow up, 23, 25. And then you get 3 videos, 3 1-hour long videos.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, think about it. Because daycare and train is also, we get same results and everything. The con is that the training's tied to us at the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
But once you start practicing, she'll realize, oh, this is with mom too,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, any other questions?
I don't think so. I'll just look over the email you send and get back to you. When or does it matter? Like, yeah, I guess I'll just get back. Like, is there a time slot for like getting back to you at a certain time, or because like you said, the book, I have to pay, then book and all that, so it doesn't matter, right? There's no timeline.
No, it's just on you, really.
Yeah.
We'll if you're wanting to do right away, it'll get done right away. But if you're still thinking about it, you're still thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the follow-up email will be sent either tomorrow or the following day.
Okay.
Like I said, pricing, scholars, programs. I'll include the daycare and train programs as well.
Uh-huh. Oh, you mentioned something about getting over the hump with the e-collar and the anxiety possibly being attached to it. So it sounds like to me then maybe starting, if I were to do the 6 lessons, like, I'm there, then it sounds like maybe doing it consistently would be better. So she's not like,
You mean, or Are you talking about like if you were to do the 6 week now and you were taking breaks, or?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if there's any availability, but let's say I start and then I take 2 weeks off because I'm gone and then I come back. Like, would that not be helpful for her if there's anxiety attached?
It depends on you. It's like there's more homework for you to do in person since we only see the dog once, right? Then you
Yeah.
go home and it's up to you to consistently practice. And
Uh-huh.
it's up to practice because everyone walks your dog, so you're practicing while you're walking your dog, so it shouldn't be that hard. But it's
Hmm.
on the owner doing the homework, exposing her to e-collar, doing that walk where she's having trouble and conquering those hills. But for that hump of getting that over that hump of whatever her stress is kind of like on you and how much
Hmm.
practice and everything. Because if you go for a walk once a week, well, it's going to take her a while to acclimate to the e-collar, right? Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Yeah. So homework is important for any program you choose. Obviously, with daycare training, boarding training, we're able to get stuff done faster because one, we're trainers, and then two, we have we have our all day or every day for boarding training, daycare training, whatever you decide to do.
Hmm.
Anything
Okay.
else?
No, I don't think so. I think that's about it.
If any questions come up, either about e-collar or the programs, you can go ahead and email me, and I'll do my best to answer them. But I'm pretty sure I covered everything with what I've been seeing with the shadows, swirls, the walks, the loud noises, um, and what else? What else? What else? E-collar. I think that's all.
Okay.
Um, anything else before we?
No, I don't think so.
Cool. Well, it was nice speaking. Nice speaking to you, Rachel. Keep a lookout for that follow-up email, and then yeah. Cool.
Okay. Thanks, Enrique.
Have a good night.
You too. Thanks. Bye.